Hey folks, my name is SWEGTA, and today we'll be having a look at the cut weapons that did not make it into the final release of GTA 5. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get to it. Before cutting to the chase, let's take a quick look at this very interesting image found in the last-gen GTA 5 files. This image shows us an early concept for what the GTA 5 social club page looked like, with two strange weapons that are both absent from GTA 5. For those of you who have actually played Max Payne 3, you might be saying, hey, Sweg, those kinda look like the M500 and SPAS 15 shotguns. And well, you're right. That's because GTA 5 was in development around the same time as Max Payne 3. There were some assets that would eventually make a reappearance in GTA 5. This just made it quicker and easier for developers of the game to test different weapon features. People in the community would eventually begin to suspect that it was some kind of social club mock-up and completely forgot about these weapons. With the recent massive leak of GTA 5 beta screenshots from a UI designer, it became much clearer what kind of arsenal the game had back in its early development stages. Let's begin with the first screenshot. It appears that the famous and, quite frankly, typical AK-47 was available in the game, and it seems as though the model for this particular weapon was taken straight from Max Payne 3. You see, if we were to take a render from Max Payne 3 and place it above this icon, then we won't see any differences whatsoever. That's because, well, they're simply identical. We can, of course, do the same with the AK from GTA 4, but as you can see, it doesn't really match. And as a result, the AK-47 eventually became what you see in the final game, an assault rifle based on the Norinco Type 56-2. The second leaked image shows us a bit more of the older weapons. The first thing that caught my eye was the fact that the player appears to be on their 4th page with 9 weapons displayed. And by doing some basic math, in the best case scenario, we would have a total number of 63 weapons. When GTA 5 was released, we received 27 weapons. Taking all free DLCs into account, we have a total number of 70 weapons. Could this mean that a lot of these weapons were intentionally cut to later be reused as content for DLCs? That is very much a possibility because you will see a ton of cut weapons in my future videos. On the other hand, this image could just be a simple mock-up from the UI designer, and here's the proof. It could possibly mean that there were less than 63 weapons, but we can't be 100% sure. Let's take a moment to have a quick look at this Bolt sniper rifle, which bears a very close resemblance to the real-world AW series of sniper rifles. Some of you might recall it as a part of one of the L96A1 modifications. Interestingly enough, it does have a suppressor, which could have been one of its attachments, because as you see in the future, its icon did not feature this modification at all. In the final version of the game, the sniper rifle bears a very close resemblance to a Beretta 501 sniper with an AW series stock. The next weapon we're gonna talk about here is the M4, or well, at least one of its modifications. And by looking at some older artworks, we can spot a very similar gun in Trevor's hands. However, it has a different barrel and overall looks more like an MK18 Mod 0. The most interesting thing about this gun is the fact that it's actually a modified version of a model from GTA 4. If we were to compare them side by side, then we would see that the beta model has a different barrel with a different sight. A friend of mine speculated that it could be a mix between the M4A1 and the HK416, though it actually could most likely be the HK416D10RS. Either way, the final version of the carbine rifle was based on a mishmash of different AR-15s, along with a mix of HK416. Well, looky looky. It seems as though the game had the well-known P90 in its arsenal. Thanks to this early and unused social club render, we can identify this weapon as an early assault SMG. The interesting thing here is that its shape does have some distinct differences from the screenshot. But hey, the P90 was actually featured in the Ballad of Gay Tony as well, where it's called Assault SMG. If we were to remove the silencer and compare these models, then I can assure you that these models look practically identical, and as a result, it is safe to assume that this is indeed the GTA 4 model. Moreover, the old GTA 5 renders found in the game files shows us a P90 with a bullpup configuration, which is incorrect for this particular weapon in real life. My assumption here is that the developers decided to alter this model to avoid any possible copyright issues. The minigun here appears to be based on a real-life counterpart. In the beta, it looked more like a GE M134 model. Here's a quick comparison of what it might have looked like. The RPG, however, is a whole different story. It doesn't match the final model, or the Max Payne 3 model, or even with the GTA 4 one for that matter. The same goes for its old icon. Speaking of the RPG, according to the official Brady Games strategy guide, it was initially supposed to have a grip attachment, which would add more stability and increased accuracy for this particular weapon. Now, as we know, we can't tune this rocket launcher in the final version of the game apart from the tint. Sadly, the programmable AR is reserved for and will be discussed in a future video because there are tons of stuff to cover about this particular gun, so make sure to stay tuned for that. The following weapons will be referenced by their Max Payne 3 names, as they were all taken from that game. The rotary grenade launcher here, for whatever reason, is missing a grip and a buttstock. Anyway, I'm fairly certain that this weapon would eventually be replaced with the Milker MGL and renamed to Grenade Launcher. The M500 shotgun here appears to be a little bit different than its Max Payne 3 counterpart, and sadly, I can't say for sure if it was a beta GTA 4 or Max Payne 3 model. Moreover, it looks to be completely the same as in the Social Club picture. I assume its model was later changed to a MOSSBERG 500 compact cruiser, which made it to be a short pump action shotgun. And finally, here is the Micro 9mm, which is based on the real-life IMI Mini Uzi. Interestingly enough, the render has a different texture, having a double-sized magazine clip attached, and according to its old icon, it was a standard clip size. Fun fact, its beta model was actually spotted in this very early screenshot with an additional stock, which looks exactly like in the real-life and smaller magazine clip size. Moreover, it screenshot that the micro SMG always had unfolded stock because in the final game it unfolds only if you have a scope attached on it. Here's a quick video demonstrating this feature. The final micro SMG wasn't really altered that much aside from the ditching of the Max Payne 3 model's resemblance. So, here is the third and final leaked image for today's analysis. Most of these weapons have already been covered while the rest looks to be the same, having just a slightly different icon. But hey, here we have yet another cut weapon, a double-barreled shotgun, which was omitted from the final game. If we were to compare the model from Max Payne 3 with this icon, then it's safe to say that they are 99% identical. Here, take a look for yourself. Interestingly enough, this is the first weapon from this list which later reappeared in the game. If you recall, the Son of Double-Barreled Shotgun was released as part of the Lowrider DLC, but as a different model. If in the beta it looked more like Remington SBS after reusing it, they decided to make it more like Sabla short-barreled side-by-side shotgun. By the way, in GTA 5, the sawed-off shotgun discharges both barrels when fired, the second firing slightly after the first, with a large spread. In Max Payne 3, the player can always save the last bullet for a later use. Why did I say this? Who knows, maybe GTA 5 used the same mechanics. All of this could mean that these leaked screenshots are pretty damn old, and thanks to them, we can see the old weapon arsenal for GTA 5. It's worth pointing out that not a single weapon apart from the Uzi from those images were ever seen on the pre-release screenshots and footage. Did they know that they would change these weapons anyway? Why would they cut P90 Arctic Warfare Bolt Sniper Rifle, which were new and unique models? Sadly, it will remain a mystery. As we've already seen, the early GTA 5 version had a lot of Max Payne 3 models, but what about GTA 4? It does appear that the developers reused some assets from GTA 4 as well, most likely as temporary placeholders. But for some reason they forgot to fully change the models, leaving us with lots of juicy behind the scenes details. During the Bureau Raid Fire Crew approach, the last gen versions uses the C4 model, which kind of resembles the C4 from the Ballad of Gay Tony, but with a slightly different shape. Interestingly enough, the Enhanced Edition also had this bug fixed, and the model was changed to feature the final C4 look. If we were to take a look at some of the early screenshots of the parachute being deployed, then we can see that it had the same color scheme as its counterpart from GTA 4's The Ballad of Gay Tony. What is more interesting is the fact that according to the last gen icon, the parachute bag was reused from that DLC as well, but it remained behind the scenes. Here's a fact you probably didn't know: the icon was actually fixed in the Enhanced Edition of the game. Rockstar always seems to pay attention in the most unpredictable of places. Fun fact, you can still find both of these models in the game files, although I doubt that you can actually see them anywhere throughout the normal game. Hey folks, this is Sweg. I narrated this video. If you guys enjoy my voice, then you might as well check out my channel, SWEGTA. I do tons of bully content, so if that's your cup of tea, then check out my channel by clicking the link on the screen. Anyway, that's it for me. You folks, have a good day. Peace.